A Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, Chapter 12, Part 1. Hannah pulled into the parking lot at the Tri-County Mall and turned to Lisa with a frown. I hate to shop. It won't be so bad, Hannah. All you need is a pair of shoes, and it's really nice of your mother to pay for them. Oh yeah? Hannah turned to her with a lifted eyebrow. Mother's gifts always have strings attached. The shoes have to be Italian, and they can't have more than a 3-inch heel. Lisa shrugged. Italian is good, and you never wear heels anyway. Wait, there's more. I'm not supposed to buy anything except fine leather. No man-made materials allowed, and I have to ask the salesman to guarantee that the color won't run if it gets wet. She made me promise to put them on and walk around the store twice to make sure they don't pinch my feet. That doesn't sound so bad. Come on, Hannah. The mall closes at 7 and it's already 6:30. Hannah sighed and got out of her truck. A light snow was falling and the temperature had dropped 10 degrees since the sun had gone down. She didn't like to go to the mall at the best of times, and this was the worst. The parking lot was packed with cars, and she was pressed for time, and she needed to buy the shoes tonight. As far as Hannah was concerned, this hasty shopping trip to buy a last-minute item was a perfect recipe for disaster. Lisa led the way across the slushy lot and into the rear door of Sears. They cut through the hardware, paint, and household appliance sections and sped down the path of green indoor-outdoor carpeting to the indoor entrance of the mall itself. As they walked into the huge dome-shaped area, Hannah's eyes were immediately drawn to a giant red plastic sledge and 8 plastic reindeer frozen in mid-prance. She blinked twice, and then she turned to Lisa. It's not even Halloween yet, and they're all decorated for Christmas. They put up the decorations right after Labor Day. I guess a lot of people like to do their Christmas shopping early, and they buy more if the mall's decorated. Has your father seen it yet? I bring Dad out every Sunday. There's an animated Santa's workshop in the lobby of Dayton's, and he's just fascinated by it. He must have seen it at least half a dozen times, but he always points out what all the elves are doing for me. That must be the upside of Alzheimer's. Every time your father sees it, he thinks he's seeing it for the first time. Hannah's words popped out before she could think about them, and she winced when she realized that she had sounded flippant. I'm sorry, Lisa. I didn't mean to joke about such an awful disease. That's okay, Hannah. You have to joke about it. I do it too. And it could be a lot worse. Dad's not in any pain, and he's forgotten about all his problems. Most of the time, he really enjoys himself. Where should we start first? Hannah decided it was time to change the subject. Let's go to Bianco's. They're new. Rhonda Sharp was in the other day, and I heard her telling Gail Hansen that they had a better selection than any of the other shoe stores. Hannah followed Lisa through the crowd of shoppers without seeing a familiar face. That wasn't surprising. The Tri-County Mall was 20 miles from Lake Eden, and it served all the small towns within a 40-mile radius. She saw several teenage boys wearing little fall flyer team jackets, and a group of giggling girls standing near the video store were sporting long prior high school sweatshirts. Lisa ducked into a brightly lit store, displaying the Italian flag as a background in its window. Rows of shoes lined the shelves on the wall, and every few feet around, plastic display shelf jutted out with a pair of shoes arranged at eye level. Hannah followed, and she immediately spotted a pair of black shoes near the back of the store. They had low heels. They were probably made of leather, and they looked comfortable. I think I'll take these, Lisa. Hannah walked over to point to the pair of shoes. They look just right. They're too plain, Hannah. You need something fancier to go with your gorgeous dress. How much fancier? Hannah wasn't willing to cave in quite so easily. The black shoes would go with almost anything, and plain was fine with her. Try this pair. Lisa snatched a pair from the display and handed them to Hannah. They'll be perfect. Trust me. Trust me was the same phrase her mother had used when she talked Hannah into buying a totally ridiculous velvet skirt one Christmas, and Hannah was leery as she examined the shoes. They met all the requirements, but the thin leather strap that buckled around the ankle would draw attention to her legs. Just try them, Hannah. If you don't like them, you can choose something else. Fine. Going shopping with Lisa was a lot like shopping with her mother. I wear a 9.5 narrow. I'll check with the clerk. Lisa hurried off, and within a few moments, she came back with a man with black hair and a mustache. He was wearing white pants and a striped shirt, and he looked exactly like Hannah's conception of a Venetian gondolier. "This is Tony," Lisa introduced him. "He'd help you." In record time, Hannah's feet were measured, and Tony had slipped the shoes on her feet. Hannah stood up gingerly, took a few steps, and started to smile. Lisa was right. The shoes would be perfect with a black cocktail dress. "I'll take that." "Not so fast," Lisa warned. "You have to walk around the store first. You promised." Hannah sighed and walked up and down the aisles. She was glad she did, because she noticed a sign near the register that advertised a second pair of shoes for $5. She rushed back to Tony and gestured toward the sign. "A second pair is only $5? "That's right. It's still our grand opening. You want to look at a second pair?" Hannah shook her head and pointed to Lisa. "No, she does, and I'm